Hello friends, today in this video I am going to discuss the short story Hearts and Hands by O. Henry. In this video I'll discuss introduction to writer, his writing style, the summary of the story, plot analysis of the story, character analysis, themes, symbols and literary device used in the story. So let's get started. This is the text of the story and we'll move on to introduction to writer and his writing style. O. Henry. O. Henry was his pen name, and his full name was William Sidney Potter, and he was born in 1862 in North Carolina. And having been arrested himself, perhaps O. Henry drew some perspective as to how Mr. Aston might have been feeling when he was spotted by a familiar face in Heart and Hands is portrayal in a story. And his writing style is concerned, his work is best known for its irony, clever characters, plot twists, mean unexpected twist endings, and wit is there, and wordplay. He has a skillful in this wordplay. He play with words and use them in such a masterly way, and he's master of surprising endings, and his writing is full of Paranomasia, irony, metaphor is used, exaggeration is there, and metonymy that make his stories humoristic and funny. An important features of his writing style is the combination of tragedy and comedy and tearful smile. That is tearful smile. He combined them in such a manner, and most of his narrative is based on his childhood in South and his dealing with the criminals of Texas. And he talks about his life with the criminals of Texas in the stories. And the use of humor and fun is there, and his speech pattern is that of a common people, peasant life. Let's move to summary of the story, and we'll see begin with the title significance. What the title mean? Heart signifies love, affection and kindness, whereas the hands refer to the handcuffs, and we'll see in the story the handcuffs. So the summary begins like that. The story is set in one of the eastbound B&M Express at Denver, and where we find a very pretty young woman, and her name is Miss Fairchild, and she is dressed in elegant, and she is seated on a couch, and she is projected as an experienced traveler. And this woman is shortly joined by two young men, and one of them handsome presence with a bald frank countenance and manner. So this is Mr. Aston description characterization, and the another was ruffled glum-faced person, heavenly built and roughly dressed, and that is Mr. Marshall. And the dude there sit opposite to the woman, and woman was surprised to see that the men they were handcuffed together, and the woman seems to be extrovert, and she recognized her acquaintance, the friend, the poor handcuffed fellow, Mr. Easton. She recognized him as they are familiar with each other before, and she smiles, stretch out a hand and speak with him, Mr. Aston, and what she did, and she became shocked to see that why is this handcuff is there. Also, what Mr. Marshall did, the actual Marshall is an high rank officer, so he saves Mr. Aston's reputation by stating that actually he is the prisoner and Mr. Aston is a marshal. So he tell a lie. And Mr. then to make him comfortable, Mr. Easton, and save his reputation, and Easton then begins to play along after this remark, and they have a conversation, Mr. Easton and the woman, and when the girl is disconcerted by handcuffs, and it is the another man who provides. Yes, is I already told you, Mr. Marshall told her that actually he's the prisoner and Mr. Easton is Marshall. It's a lie, actually. And at the last, what happens? They are they eat. In case of O. Henry, one fears isn't, and the two men move down the aisle, making way towards the smoker. And it is only when the two men have made their exit that we are given to understand the twist. So after Mr. Easton and Marshall has gone, there were two passengers who were sitting beside them, and one of them is a clever person, and he recognized that they tell a lie, that he observed that the Marshal didn't handcuff their prisoners to their right hand, so he recognized by this act that he was telling a lie. And this is surprising ending, and character analysis concern Mr. Easton. He was well-mannered young man and he was a liar. He tells Miss Fairchild that he is a marshal when really he is a criminal. And uh, and he is a dynamic character. In the beginning, he tries to avoid talking to Miss Fairchild when his marshal says that he is a prisoner, and Easton felt comfortable and start conversation with the women. And Miss Fairchild, she is a pretty young woman, elegantly dressed, gullible and trusting. So yes, she easily believe. Gullible is someone who easily believes something. So she believed the lie told to her, and she accept that Mr. Aston is a marshal without questioning. And she becomes judgmental when Aston says that I'll ask you to excuse the another hand and it otherwise engage at a present. And she is a static character because she doesn't change at all during the story, and she learns that people are not always who they say and they are. And Miss Fairchild learns this lesson at the end of the story when she realized that the man who told her he was an officer is really a prisoner. And Miss Fairchild was shocked when she realized that who the man really was. And Master Marshall, he was a kind, yes, he act as a kind person. He was a clever and he was a gentleman. And plot analysis concern exposition, the beginning of the story, and then we being BM Express, woman named Fairchild. She sit on the train, the conflict, the two men who are handcuffed together sit down next to Miss Fairchild, and rising action. Miss Fairchild recognizes the young man who says he is a marshal, and the men leave to go to smoke in the room. As in the climax, one of the people on the train says that they have never seen an officer handcuff a prisoner to his left hand. And in the falling action and resolution, ambiguous, surprising and twist ending, his style and story end without telling what happened after that. And literary elements used in a story, foreshadowing used to give hint, yes, technique to give hint about future actions. Aston told Miss Fairchild that he needed to go to Leavenworth. He also spoke of the past making money in the West. And imagery is used. The author vividly described the setting and characters. Among the newcomers were two young men, one of them handsome and another ruffled, glumly faced, and roughly dressed. And irony is used that throughout the story, Miss Fairchild talked to him as if he is a hero because he is a marshal, and now you are one of those dashing western heroes and you ride and shoot and go into all kinds of dangers. At the end, she finds out that he is a prisoner. Symbolism used there. The handcuffs symbolize a lover's standard of living. When Easton pointed them out, Miss Fairchild was horrified and judged him instantly. And suspense, the reader is left with a feeling of suspense. Twisted, unexpected ending is there. Easton's true identity is revealed and story ends. The themes of the story: in The Heart and Hands by O. Henry, we have the theme of appearance and disguise, deception is there, freedom, honesty, and identity is there. So yes, as we see the theme of appearance, there disguise is there, that actually Mr. Easton appears to Marshall for Miss Fairchild, but actually he was a criminal. So the appearance, it's not like that what seemed to be is true. Okay, it's a deception, disguise, and illusion. And honesty is there, that the Marshall you can say that the Mr. Aston tell a lie, and Mr. Marshall, he also tell a lie to save the reputation of Mr. Aston. So honesty is there and identity is also there. They hide their identity, Mr. Easton and Marshall. And we'll move on. And the main theme is kindness. The real Marshall is a kind man, and he spares Mr. Easton's reputation in front of Miss Fairchild and speak in favor of him. And so this is the act of kindness. And we'll move on to another theme, that is class distinction is also there in The Heart and Hands. And in the beginning of the story, Mr. Easton is described as a young man with a handsome presence, and Miss Fairchild automatically she assumed that Mr. Easton is of that of a higher class. And she is also described as a belong to a higher class, as she dress elegantly. And so class distinction, the way we judge people on basis of their appearance and clothes, and assume that what class they belong to. And so Miss Fairchild, yes, she is clearly of higher class, and as I already discussed, dress well, elegantly, luxuries. And as she heard about Mr. Easton that he's a marshal, so she grew fond of him, because due to his higher rank in a society, higher class, and the position he holds. So class distinction is theme. And that's all analysis of the story, and hope you understand. I'll provide you notes, link in the description. Thank you for watching.